Over 60, many adults walk daily, do their leg exercises, and still feel one awkward step away from a fall. The legs feel reasonably strong. The heart and lungs feel trained. Yet every uneven surface, every curb, every wet tile demands full attention. The missing piece sits lower than the knees, lower than the ankles, right under the socks. The feet and toes tell the brain what the ground is doing. And when those small muscles weaken, balance becomes guesswork. Under the arch and between the toes live the intrinsic foot muscles. They shape the arch, help the toes press the floor, and constantly report back to the nervous system. With age, those muscles shrink. The toes lose strength. The arch collapses more easily under load. Movement turns cautious and defensive. Steps shorten. The toes stop exploring and start riding passively inside the shoe. Many people never notice this slow decline because it feels like ordinary aging, not like a specific weakness. The body still tries to keep you safe. The hips stiffen. The ankles work harder. The eyes scan the floor for every crack or cable. This compensation strategy works until it does not. One day, the ground is wet, or the light is poor, or the curb surprises you, and the toes are not ready to help you brake, stabilize, and correct. That is when a small stumble can become a high-impact fall. Think of the toes in 3 roles. First, brakes. Every step forward carries momentum. As the foot lands, the toes help decelerate the body. They press into the ground and give the leg a firm endpoint, so the upper body does not keep tipping. When toe strength is low, braking distance increases. The body wobbles further before it stops. That added wobble creates more opportunity to lose balance. Second, stabilizers. When you shift weight forward, backward, or to the side, the toes act like small outriggers. They spread, press, and adjust pressure from side to side. That subtle activity gives you a wider base than the bones alone. Weak or inactive toes cannot provide that micro-adjustment. All the stabilization has to come from the ankle, the knee, and the hip. On a stable, flat floor, this might pass. On a sloped driveway, a bus step, or a gravel path, it becomes a liability. Third, sensor pads. The skin, joints, and muscles in the foot and toes send information to the brain about pressure, tilt, and texture. When the signal is strong and clear, the brain can predict how the next step will behave. When the signal is weak, the brain plays it safe. It slows the body down, shortens the step, and keeps muscles pre-tensed. That constant caution feels like stiffness and fatigue. Many people interpret it as aging in general, when part of it is actually a sensory and strength deficit in the feet. Foot and toe training does not reverse every cause of poor balance, and it does not guarantee a life without falls. It does something more modest and more realistic. It improves toe strength. It wakes up the arch muscles. It sharpens the message from the sole of the foot to the brain. That combination gives the body better options when the ground is not perfect. Some people feel steadier. Some walk with more confidence. Some reduce their fall risk. The outcome is not a miracle. It is a mechanical improvement. What foot training cannot do also matters. It does not repair significant nerve damage. It does not replace medical treatment for serious balance disorders. It does not give permission to ignore walking aids that a professional has prescribed. Foot training is a simple, low-impact tool. It joins your existing walking routine, strength routine, and medical care. The most useful way to approach this work is in 3 levels. Seated drills that ask very little from balance. Standing drills performed with support close by. Walking drills that integrate the stronger toes and more active arches into real-life stepping. The levels are not a test of worth. They are simply ways to match the demand to your current stability. Start with seated activation. When the feet and toes have been asleep for years, even tiny movements bring them back into the conversation. Sit on a firm chair. Feet on the floor. Place a small towel under the front part of one foot. The heel stays planted. The ball of the foot rests on the towel. Use your toes to pull the towel toward you. Imagine each scrunch as a slow, deliberate grip and release. The work happens in the flexing toes and the underside of the arch. The purpose is to rebuild strength and coordination, not to move the towel quickly. A handful of slow, strong scrunches on each side is enough stimulus for many people at first. Next, give each toe a more precise task. Place a few small objects like pens, markers, or marbles on the floor near your foot. Still seated, use the toes to grip one object, lift it off the floor, and drop it into a bowl or onto your other hand. The lift does not need to be high. Even the attempt to grip wakes up connections between the brain and the toes. For someone who has trouble lifting, the first step is simply trying to press the object, feel it with the toes, and explore the movement. 30 to 60 seconds of gentle practice per foot builds meaningful skill without fatigue. Follow that with seated arch lifts. Keep both feet flat on the floor, hip width apart, heels stay heavy, toes stay in contact with the ground. Without curling the toes, gently lift the arch. Imagine the foot turning into a small bridge. The ball of the foot slides very slightly toward the heel, and the middle of the arch rises. Hold this position for a few seconds, then relax. The movement may feel extremely small and subtle. That is acceptable. Over time, the brain learns to recruit the intrinsic muscles more efficiently, and the sensation becomes clearer. For many older adults with significant fear of falling, this seated level is already a major step. It strengthens tissues that have been neglected. It reintroduces the idea that toes can move, grip, and support. It can be repeated during television time, reading time, or any seated break in the day. Repetition matters more than intensity at this stage. Once standing with hand support feels safe, progress to supported standing drills. Stand near a sturdy counter or heavy table. Keep a light touch with the hands, enough to feel secure, but not enough to hang from the arms. Place both feet hip-width apart. Toes point forward. Perform the same arch lift you practiced in sitting. Heels down, toes down and long. Gently draw the ball of the foot toward the heel and lift the arch. Hold briefly, then relax. Perform a small number of these holds with control. The load through the foot is higher in standing, so the muscles receive a stronger stimulus. Build on that with heel-to-toe weight shifts. Maintain the same stance and light hand contact on the support. Slowly shift your weight backward toward your heels, then forward toward the balls of your feet. When the weight moves forward, expand awareness into the toes. Toes spread slightly. Toes press the floor with intent. Feel the toes participate in breaking the body's forward movement. Move within a range that feels controlled and safe. If the toes cramp, reduce the amplitude of the shift. The purpose is to rehearse the front-to-back control that every step requires, under conditions that allow correction. Introduce mini heel raises to further strengthen the connection between toes, arches, and calf muscles. With the same stance and support, spread the toes lightly on the floor. Lift the heels 1 or 2 centimeters. Hold briefly, then lower slowly. Avoid chasing maximum height. The goal is steady, symmetrical effort. The front of the foot remains relaxed but alert, not clawed into the floor. The calf and intrinsic foot muscles share the load. A small set of slow repetitions is enough for one bout. Overwork simply leads to soreness that interferes with walking. For many people, this supported standing level provides lasting benefit. When practiced regularly, it converts the toes from passive passengers into active contributors. The body begins to rely less on a wide stance and rigid joints and more on fine adjustments at the base. That change shows up in everyday tasks, such as turning in a narrow hallway, reaching into a cupboard, or stepping into a bathtub. The third level brings this new capacity into walking. The nervous system only fully adopts a change when it sees it work during real-life movement. Stand along a safe, clear path with a stable support within arm's reach. Walk slowly. Notice each phase of the step. The heel makes contact. The weight rolls through the arch. The toes finish the movement with a gentle push-off. Articulate these phases in the mind until they feel natural. If a lifetime of shuffling has reduced heel and toe movement, this sequence may feel foreign at first. Gradual repetition teaches the body that full foot movement is both possible and beneficial. Add a semi-tandem stance drill to refine balance in a more challenging position. Place one foot slightly ahead of the other, as if frozen mid-step. The front heel sits near the back toes, but not in a full tightrope line. Maintain a light hand contact with the support. Spread and press the toes of both feet into the ground. Notice how that active contact increases stability. Hold for a brief period, then switch the leading foot. This stance closely resembles everyday situations, such as stepping over a threshold or standing on a bus. Training it in a controlled way prepares the body for those demands. Safety frames this work. Foot and toe drills are small and gentle, but they still apply stress to joints, tendons, and nerves. Strong, sharp, or sudden pain in the foot or ankle is a stop signal. Recent fractures or surgeries in the foot, ankle, or lower leg require clearance from a clinician before adding load. Severe deformities, open wounds, or unhealed ulcers on the feet shift the priority toward protection, not exercise. Diabetes that is not well controlled, especially with reduced sensation in the feet, demands individualized guidance. Moderate to severe neuropathy or balance disorders already under active treatment also require professional oversight before progressing. At all times, using a reliable support during standing and walking drills remains non-negotiable. A kitchen counter bolted to the wall, a secure railing, or a heavy table provides more safety than a light chair that can slide. Pride does not enter this conversation. The aim is to train the foot and toe muscles without introducing unnecessary risk. Integration into daily life works best when kept simple. A brief block of seated drills can pair with television or reading. A short set of supported standing exercises fits naturally into kitchen time while waiting for water to boil or food to heat. A slow, attentive walk with focus on heel, arch, and toe phases can replace one ordinary walk along a safe path. These small anchors turn isolated exercises into habits. Over weeks and months, the result of consistent practice accumulates. Toes that once barely moved begin to grip and release on command. The arch responds more dynamically to load. The body detects subtle changes in ground surface earlier. Confidence grows, not from blind optimism, but from repeated proof that the foundation under every step has strengthened. Strong toes create better brakes. Awake arches provide more stable platforms. Clear signals from the sole give the brain more accurate information. None of these elements erase age. They do, however, shift the odds. Each step moves from a quiet risk toward a controlled, informed action. That shift is the practical face of longevity in movement. Fewer surprises from the ground, more trust in your own footing, stride by stride.